Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome to today's reading from Gauranga, the golden incarnation of divine love by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami. We are reading from the last section of this book, section 3, Jagannatha, Puri and later Pastimes. Lord Chaitanya travels to South India. After some time, Lord Chaitanya decided to tour all over South India. The devotees didn't want him to go, but somehow or another, he was able to find some reason. He gave as an excuse that he had to go and find his brother, although he knew his brother had already gone back to the spiritual world, otherwise no one was letting him go. Then he went on a tour of the entire south of India. He came back up on the western Ghat, and in Pandharpur he found the place that Vishwarup, his older brother, had left the world. Lord Chaitanya then proceeded up to Dwarka, and from there he went back to Jagannath Puri and Andhra Pradesh. That was the basic route that Lord Chaitanya took to South India. When Lord Chaitanya was in South India, he was going to Sri Salem, the famous Shiva Tirth. On the journey, he also stopped at a Brahman's house. This Brahman was a collector, but not a collector like a government tax collector, stamp collector or coin collector. He was a collector of verses that glorify Lord Vishnu. From all the scriptures, he had collected so many verses that glorify Lord Vishnu. Like in the Skanda Puran, Lord Murugan's Holy Puran, there is a verse which mentions that there are two syllables that one should chant, Ha and Ri. There it says, if you chant these two syllables, Hari, literally to steal away, then the Supreme Lord Hari, Vishnu, will steal from you. He steals from you all your suffering, all misfortune, all bad karma, all kinds of dirt from your heart. Now this particular Brahman was very devoted to Lord Ram. When he was serving Lord Chaitanya, he was always chanting the name of Ram. He would say, you want more prasadam? Ram, 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 Ram. So Lord Chaitanya asked, why aren't you chanting the holy name of Krishna? He said, I know actually in Shiva Puran, Padma Puran, it says, Krishna's name is supreme. The Lord Shiva said that one name of Ram is 1,000 names times more powerful than the name of Vishnu. And in the same Puran, Shiva told Parvati that if you chant the name of Krishna, that is equal to 3,000 names of Vishnu. So I know that Krishna's name is more powerful, but somehow I am so much attached to Ram. He is my Ishta Devta, my worshipable deity, so I am only able to chant Ram. Lord Chaitanya then went to visit other holy places, and after some days came back and again resided at the same Brahman's house. This time when he saw the Brahman, he was chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Lord Chaitanya was surprised. Before you could only chant Ram, how is it now you're chanting Krishna's name? Then the Brahman fell down at Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet and said, I don't know, but I think you must be Krishna. Nobody else could change me. I was fixed on Ram, but now by your association, I have suddenly become awakened to Krishna Bhakti. Please reveal to me who you are. You must be Krishna, otherwise how is it possible? So like this, by Lord Chaitanya's association, this Brahman's Krishna Bhakti was awakened. The meeting of Lord Chaitanya and Ramananda Rai. When Ramananda Rai met Lord Chaitanya, he said, along with me there are about 1,000 men, including the Brahmanas, and all of them have had their hearts melted simply by seeing you. I can hear everyone chanting Krishna, 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 the holy name of Krishna. Everyone's body is thrilled with ecstasy, and there are tears in everyone's eyes. Ramananda Rai was glorifying Lord Chaitanya. He said that simply by seeing Lord Chaitanya, all his associates' hearts were melted, their hairs were standing on end, and tears were pouring from their eyes. They were in complete ecstasy. Ramananda Rai said to Lord Chaitanya, because you inspired everyone to chant Hare Krishna, because of your extraordinary features and your behavior, you are kind to everyone. You must be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is an interesting point. In the material world, we know that Grihamedhi consciousness means to always be envious of others. Whatever I have, I want more, and whatever anybody else has, I want that too. If anybody has more than me, then I envy them. This enviousness is everywhere. Therefore, people cannot treat everyone equally because they like someone who they see as their friend and they don't like someone they see as their enemy. This friends and enemy mentality is all pervasive in the material world. It is very significant here to see that Lord Chaitanya did when he was given so many praises. He replied to Ramananda Rai, "Sir, you are the best of the topmost devotees. Therefore, upon seeing you, everyone's heart is melted." The Lord was saying, "No, it is not because of me. You are the best of the topmost devotees, and by seeing you, everyone's heart is melted. Although I am a Mayavadi sannyasi, a non-devotee, I am also floating in the ocean of love of Krishna simply by touching you, and what to speak of others." Lord Chaitanya presented himself as more fallen than anyone else, a low Mayavadi sannyasi whose heart is hard and dry, with no love. He said, "When I touched you, I felt love. I'm just floating in loving ecstasy, love of Krishna. What to speak of everybody else? Naturally, they are all feeling ecstasy by seeing you." Sarvam Bhattacharya knew this would happen, and thus to rectify my heart, which is very hard, he asked me to meet you. Lord Chaitanya didn't accept the praise but turned it around and gave the praise to Ramananda Rai. "It is all your glory, all your good qualities made everyone ecstatic because you are a topmost pure devotee. Devotees get very joyful when glorifying another devotee. They don't get happiness from being praised. Rather, if they are praised or worshipped, they feel some kind of embarrassment or discomfort, some kind of weight, responsibility. But when they glorify others, they feel very happy and blissful." Here we can see something about Vaishnav etiquette. The dealings between the Lord and his devotees and between devotees. Now the Lord is acting as a devotee, so he is showing us he is the topmost devotee. Sometimes you may get some praise, you may get an award, you may win the marathon, you may achieve some good devotional service, and the tendency for the mind is to become proud, to think, "Yes, this is because I'm great, because I did this." Somehow we feel happiness due to pride, thinking, "I am the dear," but actually we always should consider that we are the nimitta matram, the instrument. If we do anything properly, it is because Krishna has directed us, because Guru's mercy is there, Vaishnav's mercy. When everybody is so busy appreciating everybody else's good qualities and not accepting any credit for themselves, but just talking everything as Guru's mercy, Krishna's mercy, then you will have Vaikuntha on earth. As soon as we start feeling nobody appreciates me, nobody loves me, nobody cares for me, as soon as we are in the receiving mode, immediately we get frustrated. If we are so busy in the giving mode, then actually automatically you get whatever you give. By giving, Krishna automatically provides whatever you need. When you are trying to serve Krishna, trying to give for Krishna, you are trying to encourage devotees for Krishna, you get so much mercy from Krishna. We get inspired when we are acting as instruments, helping Krishna, because Krishna wants to see all of his devotees enlivened and encouraged. So everybody can do that. Sometimes you get into a situation where you are defending the temple or defending ISKCON, then you see the attacking element as an enemy. This is a very difficult situation. One cannot act 100% on this platform that nobody is an enemy because you see someone as attacking Krishna or Krishna's movement. So on the preaching platform, you have to come down from that level of just seeing everyone equally. And then you see all the devotees as friends. And you see all fallen people are innocent. And if you see somebody is acting with envy, they are attacking ISKCON, they are attacking other devotees, then naturally you may attack. You have to get involved in seeing friends and enemies. Of course, If it is not your service to defend or attack them, then at least you should avoid such people. A Madhyam Adhikari or preacher, even if they are the topmost devotee, they come down to this platform when they are seeing the Supreme Lord, Guru, devotees, innocent and demoniac elements. He has to smash or keep away from the demonic elements, be merciful to the innocent, be friends with the devotees, and worship the Supreme Lord and his representative. So this discrimination is on the Madhyamadhikari or preacher platform. Otherwise, how can you preach? An Uttamadhikari sees everybody as a devotee, no matter who they are. They see everyone on that level. Some devotees, they are not preaching, but they are just practicing. On that level, they see everyone in a more advanced position. They see themselves as the most fallen. They are so pure that by seeing them you can get purified. Just their practice of devotional service is purifying. The Kurma Brahman. In Kurma Desh, Lord Chaitanya was staying in the house of a rich Brahman and taking prasadam there. One day the Brahman approached Lord Chaitanya and said, I have money, I am considered a wealthy man, I have a house, I have a beautiful wife, cows, and I have land, I have a good position in society. But still I am not feeling satisfied. I am thinking that I want to give everything up and go with you, be a sannyasi. Lord Chaitanya said, I don't want to hear these words from you again. Don't be a markat vairagi, a monkey renunciate. Because you are not satisfied materially, you shouldn't just give everything up. Rather, you should develop your higher taste. You should chant Hare Krishna and everyone you meet, you tell them about Krishna. Lord Chaitanya gave that famous instruction, Yare dekha tare katha Krishna upadesha amara ajanya guru hana tara edesha. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrit, Madhya Leela, 7th chapter, 128th verse. Whomever you meet, tell them the message of Krishna, be a guru for this place and deliver your country here. In this way, Lord Chaitanya was advising people to practice Krishna consciousness from their homes, especially the married people. Of course, some people were special cases, young people and some brahmacharis. He allowed them to practice brahmacharya or sannyas, but they were lesser in numbers and it was according to each individual case. Lord Chaitanya was also preaching how people could adjust their occupational duties to practice Bhakti Yoga, adding the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, adding the deity worship. Those who are fortunate enough to live in the temple or ashram, they can personally worship the temple deities. Otherwise, those who are staying outside, they can have deities in their house. If they are near the temple, they can attend the temple, worship the temple deities, attend the festivals, and have the sadhu sangha. Lord Chaitanya showed how it was practical, it could be done by anyone. The Bhagavatam Acharya. While Lord Chaitanya was touring, he came to a place that is known as Varaha Nagar, the city named after Varahadev. When he reached there, he found a Pandit who was giving lectures on the Bhagavatam. Lord Chaitanya was naturally very pleased and he liked the Bhagavatam class that the Pandit was giving. When the Pandit asked Lord Chaitanya how he should lead his spiritual life, that should be his specific practice of devotional service, then Lord Chaitanya ordered him that he should daily read Srimad Bhagavatam. Later he became known as Bhagavat Acharya. His daily sadhana was to simply be giving Bhagavatam class for 18 to 24 hours a day, a non-stop yajna. In fact, he would continually give class on a regular basis. That was the specific service assigned to him by Lord Chaitanya. The devotees of this temple say that Lord Chaitanya gave him a few fresh pages from memory because Lord Chaitanya had the entire Bhagavatam memorized, and they claim that the original pages written by Lord Chaitanya are there. That is hard to ascertain, but it is a fact that this ashram of Bhagavad Acharya is still there. He was an associate of Lord Chaitanya and his specific service was to continually distribute the Bhagavatam. By that he became completely perfected. Govind Ghosh becomes the father of Gopinath. After taking sannyas, the Lord was travelling through Bengal on his way to Vrindavan. but he only could go far as Kanai Natshala and turn back. At that time, Lord Chaitanya had a brahmachari assistant called Govinda Ghosh who was traveling with Lord as his servant. One day Lord Chaitanya had eaten extra prasadam, maybe the Grihasthas had fed him too much, so he said to Govind Ghosh, I feel some indigestion, please get me some haritaki. Haritaki is a special herb for digestion. So Govind Ghosh went to the village and begged some haritaki, then came back and gave it to the Lord. The next day when they were in Agradweep, again Lord Chaitanya asked for some haritaki for his digestion. This time Govind Ghosh came back in just a few seconds. Lord Chaitanya said, how is it possible? Yesterday it took 20 minutes and today it just took few seconds. Govind Ghosh replied, this is often happening. You're having some indigestion, so I keep a few haritakis for emergency. Lord Chaitanya said, this is the accumulating mentality, saving things for an emergency. That is the Grihastha mood. We are renunciate, we are sannyasis, so we should just depend on Krishna. Since you have this accumulating mentality, that means you are not suitable to be a brahmachari. You should get married. Govind Ghosh was shocked. Just for 2 haritakis he should get married. He did not have any plan to marry or anything, but just out of the blue Lord Chaitanya gave the order to get married because he kept 2 haritakis. Anyway, that was the order of the Guru, so Govinda Ghosh stayed there in Agradweep and got married and then established the Gopinath deity. In time he had a son, and the son was also worshipping the Gopinath deity. All the villagers were coming and having darshan, and in this way he was preaching Krishna consciousness. And then when his wife died, he was all alone with his son, and then his son also died. Govinda Ghosh became disturbed, thinking, why did Lord Chaitanya ask me to get married? First my wife passed away, then my son passed away. Why did all these things happen? He became very disturbed about the whole situation, and the deity worship was disrupted. The offerings were not on time, things were not happening, so Gopinath complained, why aren't you giving me the offerings properly? He said, well, Lord Chaitanya told me to be a Grihastha, and I did all that he told me. I had a wife and a son, but they all passed. They all left. Why did I have to go through all those things? Now I don't even have a son anymore. Then Gopinath said, well, I am your son. Yes, you are my son, but Lord Chaitanya said to the Grihastha, Lord Chaitanya said to take Grihastha. I was expecting that my son, you give me the offerings on time, proper bhoga and everything. Govind Ghosh replied, sure, yes. So let's bring all the village leaders and they can witness. Then the deity spoke in front of all the village leaders, taking the oath. I, Gopinath, state that I have accepted Govinda Ghosh as my father and I am his son. On the day he passes away, on the anniversary day, I should be taken to his samadhi and I will perform the Shraddh ceremony every year. The village leaders were shocked to hear how the deity was speaking to them, but they noted it down in the village records, and to this day, for the last 500 years, on the Ekadashi after Gaura Purnima, they take the Gopinath deity to Govind Ghosh Samadhi to perform the Shraddh ceremony. Lord Chaitanya, the ideal preacher and teacher of devotees. Lord Chaitanya faced many difficulties in his preaching. For example, the Chandkazi smashed the mridangas and banned the Hare Krishna movement in Navadvip. So then as a response, Lord Chaitanya did a massive civil disobedience to counteract, and he had the ban lifted. Also, when Lord Chaitanya went to Varanasi, the Mayavadis there were criticizing him. He had every opportunity to retaliate, to become angry and counter-criticize. But instead, seeing the situation, he wanted to deliver them, to give his mercy to the Mayavadi sannyasis. Therefore, this mercy of Lord Chaitanya is considered causeless, because here the people were actually criticizing and he had every opportunity to retaliate and criticize them also. But instead he was merciful. Even though it was false criticism, he took the humble role and approached them in such a way that he won them over by his preachings, his dealing and his own presence, also so for the sake of preaching Krishna consciousness. Sometimes we can tolerate even being criticized by fellow devotees in different ways. Just as Lord Chaitanya accepted the criticisms of the sannyasis, nothing is to be gained by being becoming revengeful or envious. Lord Chaitanya preached so nicely to the Mayavadis that he converted all of them to Vaishnavas. Lord Chaitanya was expert. He did just go to Prakashananda Saraswati and say, "You people are a bunch of Mayavadis. Nonsense, I know everything, I can defeat you." He didn't do that. He came and sat on the doorstep where the foot bathing water was. He was so humble, they said, "Oh, what are you doing? You are sitting in a dirty place." Then the Lord replied, "No, no, you are all elevated sannyasis. I'm insignificant. How can I sit amongst you?" He had so much humility. They are good people. Gyanis are generally good people, but they are very proud of their knowledge. So Lord Chaitanya defeated their pride with his humility. Lord Chaitanya was a spotless and pure personality, but it may be that the criticisms of us are not so ill-founded. Maybe we are not properly situated, and we may need to be corrected to be properly situated. So we will continue our reading from here onwards next time. Hare Tat Sat, Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.